How's it going, everyone? Blueknight here, and welcome back to yet another Spongebob Rehydrated video. So over the past week or so, new pieces of footage and screenshots have started popping up concerning Rehydrated, and as you guys might have already noticed, that I've been relatively quiet when it came to all of these drops. And the reason for that was with the PlayStation 5 event going on, and then the Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart announcement. So it's been rather hectic to try to get these videos done and analyze all the SpongeBob stuff at the same time. And that is why this video will be my last Rehydrated video where I go over any new footage that THQ decides to drop. I'm doing this for two reasons. One is because I'm sure that some of you guys out there might want to check this game out yourselves when it launches next week, without me having basically pointed out every single detail and possibly spoiling any surprises or Easter eggs. And two, it allows me to focus a little bit more on the other series that I like to discuss on the channel, like the Ratchet & Clank series for instance. However, this will not be the end of my Rehydrated content on the channel, as I still plan on releasing Rehydrated related content post-launch, including a review, which I have no idea if that will be ready by launch day. I cannot guarantee, as it might be a week later for all I know. It really just depends if I'm approved for a review code. But with all that said and out of the way, let's go ahead and dive right into the latest stuff that's been released. Just keep in mind that I won't be going as deep as I normally do, so I'm just going to point out a few things, since this stuff has already been discussed far before me by others. And also remember that what's being shown in this trailer and the other footage is not the final build or version of the game. Just keep that in mind. The Kelp Forest trailer. Okay, this level looks absolutely amazing. It's much brighter than before, but the skies have been darkened. It's a pretty good change from the original in my opinion. We get a look at the recreated Tubelets intro cutscene. The Tubelets themselves now put out fire as opposed to what appeared to be energy waves in the original. A very nice detail. At one point we can see Patrick doing his standard belly attack in the air, just like how Sandy now uses her lasso on enemies while in the air. I do like this move because in the original, Patrick was always kind of vulnerable in the air when it came to jumping around enemies compared to SpongeBob and Sandy, both of whom were capable of doing mid-air attacks, so allowing Patrick to sort of do the same thing is a really nice detail. Speaking of new abilities for Patrick, in the footage by GameStar, he can now seemingly strafe while holding something. I don't know how strafing really improves anything in this game, but I'll take it. At another point in the trailer, we noticed that the throw fruit now has bright flashes compared to the original, which kinda got darker while fading at the same time, when it was about to expire, you could say. I'm going to take it that this was done to make things a bit more noticeable, and to give players a bit more of a warning that, hey, your throw fruit is about to expire, you better do something with it quick. When Patrick throws the freeze fruit, the timer is yellow compared to white. That's because the button to open the cage that the golden spatula was in was pressed first, but that still doesn't explain why there's only one timer, yet we hear two timers, when both are supposed to be displayed at the same time. Now, like I said earlier, this is not the final build, so expect stuff like this to be fixed. There's a quick glimpse into the Kelp Cave section. Not too much to really say about this one aside from it looks brighter than the original. The Kelp Slide section, oh dear, I am not looking forward to revisiting this section, as it was such a pain to go through in the original. And it looks like that they just made the Kelp Forest more dense here. And I don't know about you guys, but it feels a bit more claustrophobic when they did this. Heck, I wasn't even able to properly point out the exact part of the slide this was from because of so much kelp. If you remember in the original, we could see most of the slide from any given area, and well, not anymore. So if any of you guys are wanting to attempt to cheese this slide, you're going to have some trouble doing so. But I will say that out of everything that we've seen for the game, this was the most drastic and noticeable thing that was changed. The next two parts are not from the trailer, rather they came from the German gaming outlet GameStar. If you guys want to check out that footage, the links will be in the description below. When we find a missing camper, they now do this celebration animation, as opposed to just retaining the exact same animation after finding them in the original. Now before we move on, we get to see a golden spatula for the first time in a while, up close, and not just the footage, but also in a couple of screenshots. It now has a glowing aura, with bits of what looks to be electricity coming off of it, and it looks really nice. However, it still does not glow when you grab it. like I said earlier, this is likely not the final build, so expect this to be changed at launch. Next up, we got the entire intro cutscene of the Robo Patrick boss battle, and I gotta say, they are nailing these cutscenes. I mean, they're pretty dang good, and are so much more expressive than the original. Oh look, SpongeBob's arm is actually connected this time. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find this cutscene in English, but thanks to the wonders of editing, I was able to splice in the original's English audio. Since this is what the team over at Purple Lamp is doing, so here you go.
Wow, that robot looks like Patrick, and its breath seems just as bad.
This day just doesn't seem to be getting any better.
SpongeBob, hurry! Squidward's in more trouble than a chili relleno in a pan of grease. We have to help!
You're right, Sandy. But if that robot really is like Patrick, he'll eat us for dessert. What should we do?
Well, we better figure something out, and pronto!
Maybe that button on his back is a self-destruct. I'll try to hit it.
Good idea, SpongeBob, but it's time to stop yapping and get to it!
I also noticed that Squidward does not change his pose after being frozen like in the original. Instead, he just freezes in place, which I honestly like a bit more and makes a bit more sense if you ask me. And once again, we come to my most common critique about the game. Oh boy, Robo Patrick. Now I get what the developers were going for, to make him look more like Patrick and not as menacing or creepy as before. And to be honest, the more menacing, creepy robot Patrick fits the tone of the level a bit more. The Rehydrated one, not so much. I'm sorry, it's just at this point, I still consider the original design the better one. Now speaking of the bosses, we got a new screenshot of the Robo Spongebob boss. Not a whole lot to make out here, except for the background, where it's noticeably not as dark as it was in the previous trailers that we've seen, where it looked much darker. Another screenshot featuring the Flying Dutchman at the entrance area to the Dutchman's graveyard. Personally speaking, this is one of my favorite screenshots of the latest batch, which I'll get to in just a moment. Looking at this screenshot reminded me of a comment I seen recently concerning the Dutchman, is that he's no longer transparent like the original, with the exception of the boss cutscenes, and I completely never noticed that until now. I mean, he is a ghost, so I find it a little odd that he isn't, transparent. Next screenshot features the main area of the Sand Mountain level. It looks amazing. Another look at the Murmur Lair with a spatula. We can definitely get a better idea of the glowing treatment that this level was given. SpongeBob's Dream, okay, so we can tell that they didn't restore the skybox to how it originally was. Instead, we've still got the clouds, the Krabby Patties, and stuff like that. I'm not really complaining, it looks really nice. Also, SpongeBob is in a different pose than the original where, I don't know, he looked kind of creepy. Right here, he just looks absolutely happy. And I really like it. Last but certainly not least is another look at the final area of the Bikini Bottom hub world, and it just looks like pure eye candy. It really does. The feel of the level has been perfectly nailed here, and it's for that reason alone that I cannot wait to get my hands on this game next week. It's still hard to believe that it's already been over a year since the game was announced, and here we are about a week away from the game's launch. It's been a really long, really fun journey, and I'm glad to have had you guys stuck around for at least a large portion of it. I just can't thank you guys enough for all the support that you have shown. It's really appreciated. But like I said at the start of the video, just because the game is launching next week, this will not be the end of my Rehydrated content, as I plan on doing the review, maybe not launch day, it might be the following week, we'll have to see, and some post-launch content. Now in terms of analysis videos, okay, that's going to be ending for this game after this video. So with that being said guys, thank you all so much for the support, and will you be picking up the game next week? As usual, be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comment section below, and also be sure to stay tuned to the channel for more SpongeBob Rehydrated content. And as always, I've been Blueknight, and I'll see you guys back here next time. Goodbye!